The 15 years you spent in the homicide division taught you one thing: people lie, but the details never do. The coffee in that cheap plastic cup on the desk has been sitting there for about 2 hours. A thin, greasy film has formed on top. You know what it tastes like: burnt plastic and cheap caffeine. But you drink it because you need to stay awake. Your eyes are closing. They're really closing. You can't keep them open. It's 4 a.m. The city's still asleep. The streets are deathly quiet. You feel a sense of peace. But this peace will change with the events of today. The city's silence at this hour is actually a harbinger of the chaos about to erupt. You're the finisher of this department. This nickname wasn't given to you as a badge of honor. You earned it because they dumped those rotten cases, where the stench of blood and gunpowder mingled, and no one wanted to look anyone in the face, right on your desk. You're the man who catches the lie in that split second when people avert their gaze. But today, you have no idea that this very talent will become your greatest curse. The interrogation room door swings open with a heavy metallic clang. 2 guards drag a man inside, gripping him by the arms. He's wearing an old denim jacket. His sleeves are rolled up to his elbows. His shoes are muddy, his hair greasy, as if he hasn't showered in days. His name is listed in the records as Elias Thorne, but you know, that name is just a piece of paper. They caught him in that warehouse in the industrial zone. In the container next to him, a man lay with severe injuries to his chest. No fingerprints were found on the gun at the scene, but there are gunpowder residues on Elias's hands. You sit down in that hard chair behind the desk. You slowly place your badge on the desk. Just as you set it down, a click sounds, and that's the only sound in the room. The man across from you doesn't lift his head. His gaze is fixed beneath the desk. You're a professional detective. You'd normally open the file, spread the photos across the table, and gauge the suspect's initial reaction as he looks at them. But this time, your hand doesn't reach for the file. Your partner, Marcus, is behind the one-way mirror. You've known Marcus for 10 years. You've eaten his wife's cooking. You're the godfather to his children. Marcus knows you well enough to pick up on even the slightest hesitation. Right now, he's standing behind the mirror, wondering why you haven't asked the first question yet. He takes a sip of his coffee and isn't waiting for you to make a mistake. He's watching you. "Elias," you finally say. Your voice sounds hoarser than usual. "Tell me what you were doing in that warehouse. Why were you there at midnight?" The man doesn't answer. His shoulders shake slightly. Then, with a slow motion, he places his hands on the table. In that very moment, everything loses its meaning. The cases you've solved over the past 15 years, that badge you're tasked with carrying, it all vanishes in an instant. Right above the index finger of his right hand, just above the knuckle, you see that mark. A crescent-shaped, white, thin scar. The moment you see that scar, all those police matters in your mind, the crime scene reports you've read, vanish in an instant. Your mind takes you back 12 years, to that kitchen. Your mother was preparing dinner. The evening news was on TV. You were still a child. You remember how your brother Raymond cut his finger while trying to pick up the knife you'd left lying open on the table. You remember the color of the blood and how he hid his finger, saying, "Don't tell Mom, she'll get scared," even though it hurt. That scar was actually your doing. That scar is now on the hand of the criminal, sitting across from you. A thrill runs through you because it's a scar you haven't seen in a long time. You stop staring at that scar, lift your head, and look at the man's face. You now see the face hidden beneath his scruffy beard, those sunken eye sockets worn down by exhaustion, and that weathered expression, as if life had run over him like a truck. The man sitting across from you is not Elias Thorne. He is your brother Raymond, who left home one morning 12 years ago saying, "I'll build you a better life," promising to try every means to pay for your college tuition, and never returned. You became a detective because you wanted to find him. You spent 15 years in these dark rooms to find him and ask, "Why did you leave?" But fate has placed you here, sitting as his judge. Something inside you snaps. You don't feel like a detective. You feel like that guilty child who left the knife on the table. Your throat goes dry. What you need to do right now is clear. Stand up, go to Marcus, and say, "This man is my brother. I'm recusing myself from the case." But you know that if you do that, you'll be throwing Raymond to the wolves. You look at the crime scene photos again. The victim was an important courier for a powerful criminal syndicate. Even if Raymond doesn't talk now, he might not last a single night in prison. Those who punish even their own men will never forgive an informer or a suspect. Raymond slowly lifts his head. You look into each other's eyes. In that moment, you realize he's known you all along. The very second he walked into that room, he knew who you were. But he too remains silent. He stays quiet so as not to tarnish your spotless career, your reputation as a detective whom everyone respects. He's thinking of you more than himself. He chooses to give himself away rather than let your badge be compromised. Just like 12 years ago, he's protecting you again. You don't know me, detective, Raymond says. His voice sounds much older, much more weary than you expected. You have your rules. I have only my struggle to survive. This is a warning. It's Raymond's way of saying, don't let on that you recognize me. But that scar on his hand whispers a truth to you every second. The course of events is leading you into a dead end. Raymond was there. He has gunpowder residue on his hands. He was by the victim's side. You tell yourself you have to do something, because if you can't find the real killer or get Raymond out of there, this might be the last time you see your brother. A noise comes from outside. Radio voices rise in the hallway. Marcus steps out from behind the mirror and knocks on the door. Time is running out. Now you have to make a decision. Either you stay an honest cop and throw your brother into the gears of the system, or you leave that badge on the table and pull your brother out of that darkness. You stand up. The high-pitched sound the chair makes on the concrete floor echoes in your head. You look at Raymond. He's just waiting. You look at the scar on your hand one last time, and in that moment, you realize you've been upholding justice all this time, but today is the day you pay your debt to your brother. The doorknob turns. Marcus is about to walk in. You're clutching your badge so tightly in your palm that the metal's edges are digging into your flesh. The moment you hear that creak of the doorknob, the heavy atmosphere in the room lifts. That sound literally echoes inside your head because you sense that things are about to get even harder. Your partner, Marcus, walks in. Marcus looks at you first, then at Raymond sitting across the table with his usual skeptical and watchful gaze. The scent of cheap cigarettes and fresh coffee lingering on Marcus hits your nose. He slams the file he's holding down on the empty corner of the table. Anything come up? He asks. Marcus speaks so casually. His ordinary demeanor seems to be mocking the apocalypse raging inside you. You're a mess here, and the guy has no clue what's going on in the world. But in that moment, you're not just a 15-year veteran detective. You're that helpless child who's been mourning for 12 years. To hide the lump in your throat, you take a big gulp of the cold coffee on the table. The coffee is completely cold and stale now, but in that moment, the only thing keeping you from breaking down is that awful coffee. Not yet, you say. You try to keep every muscle in your body under control so your voice doesn't tremble. He won't give a name, and his story doesn't add up, you say. Marcus leans toward Raymond, as if trying to figure out if he missed something while watching you from behind the one-way mirror. Raymond, however, remains in the same position. He's still staring at the floor. Leaning against the edge of the table, Marcus says to Raymond, "You know, son, I've seen dozens like you. They all stay silent at first, then start singing like canaries once they get crushed between the system's gears. The choice is yours. Either you talk now, or you'll spend the night in one of those cold cells at the state prison." After Marcus's words, you realize time is running out. If Marcus takes over the case or someone from headquarters uploads Raymond's fingerprints into the system, it's all over. Raymond's fake identity will collapse in minutes. The fact that your own brother, whom you've reported as missing for 12 years, is a suspect in a case will be laid bare before the entire department. In that moment, you know your career, your image as an honest cop, and everything you've built will go up in smoke like a matchstick. Marcus says, "I'm out. Call me if anything comes up," and leaves the room. When the door closes again, you feel a sense of relief, but you're still trying to figure out how to find a solution. Now, it's just the two of you again. You call out to Raymond in a hushed voice. You haven't spoken that name aloud in 12 years. Raymond lifts his head for the first time. Your eyes meet. There's no regret in those eyes, only that deep sorrow of having failed to protect you. "You shouldn't be here, brother," he says. His voice cracks as he speaks. Hearing him call you brother stabs you in the chest, like something has settled there. Raymond begins to explain. "What you're about to hear is that your efforts to get your life in order weren't just thanks to you. They were thanks to your brother as well. 12 years ago, on that morning when he left the house, He'd started doing the grunt work for a local group, so he could discreetly help with the costs of your police academy tuition. While you were learning legal principles in libraries, he was observing the complexities of street dynamics. Behind every one of your successes, every promotion, there's the trail of that dirty money your brother earned by sacrificing his own life. If you're wearing that shining badge on your chest today, it's because he chose to be on the wrong side so you could earn it. This chain of events has cornered you. The victim in the warehouse where Raymond was caught was the money courier for the city's biggest crime boss. Raymond didn't go there to harm anyone. He went to uncover a move being planned against you within the cartel. But things went wrong, and the real culprits who harmed the courier framed your brother and fled. So your brother is sitting across from you right now because he was actually trying to protect you. As a detective, your duty is to turn him over to the prosecutor. But as a brother, your duty is to save this man who gave everything for you. You stand up. You walk toward the main control panel in the corner of the room. You turn your back to the mirror, to that glass partition where Marcus is watching you. Your hands are shaking, but you know what you have to do. You pull out the magnetic key from your pocket. You put the magnetic key in your pocket this morning while you were in the warehouse, but you forgot to put it back. It's a good thing you did, because right now, that magnetic key is your only way out. You just need to freeze that camera for a few seconds. It has to look like a minor technical glitch so no one gets suspicious. This will be the first and biggest blow you've dealt to your 15-year career. As you fiddle with the wires, you whisper to yourself, "I'm doing this for him." The system shuts down for a moment. The fluorescent light flickers once and goes out. Taking advantage of that brief moment of darkness, you rush over to Raymond. You drop the handcuff keys onto your brother's flat shoes. "There's a service door in the back hallway by the cleaning closet," you say. Your voice sounds less like a detective's and more like that of an accomplice. "Get out through there and never come back to this city, Raymond," you say. Raymond isn't looking at you. He's just clenching the key in his hand tightly. The door bursts open. Marcus and two uniformed officers who've come to transport him enter. "The interrogation is over. We didn't get anything out of him," you say, your voice sounding very serious. "He won't give a name. His story is full of gaps. You can transfer the suspect to the state prison." The officers grab Raymond by the arms and roughly pull him to his feet. As Raymond leans on the desk for support, he deftly slips the key into his pocket. Meanwhile, you deliberately knock over the coffee cup on the desk to distract the officers. While they curse at the soaked files, Raymond uses those few seconds of distraction to take his first step into the hallway. 10 minutes later, the voice you've been waiting for comes over the radio. The suspect overpowered an officer at the service entrance to the parking lot and escaped. He's heading south in a white van. We need backup. Seal off all exits. You're alone in the interrogation room. Marcus walks in. His breathing is labored. He flings the notebook he's holding onto the table. "How did this happen?" he asks, his voice echoing in the small room. "How did the man you interrogated and handcuffed just walk out like that?" You say nothing, just gather the files. Marcus looks at the faint shadow cast by that crescent-shaped scar on the table. "I saw that scar too," Marcus whispers as he walks toward you. "It was exactly the same as that detail in your missing persons reports from 12 years ago. You're not making a mathematical error, my friend. You're making a choice. You let him go." You lock eyes with Marcus. In truth, he knows your last 15 years. Everything about you, very well. But all you need to do right now is somehow keep him quiet. Because if he speaks, all your years of hard work will be destroyed in an instant. You have no other choice. But still, with confidence, you say, "If you're going to write a report, Marcus, write it now." Marcus pauses. As the sirens and commotion in the hallway grow louder, you hear that heavy silence. The moment that honest man decides to lie for you. As Marcus turns and walks out, he looks at you and says, "That was the end. Next time, not even I can save you." You grab your jacket and head down to the parking lot. You get into your car. The rain is pounding heavily against the windows. You close the door and, in the silence inside the car, think about what just happened. Your hand trembles as you turn the ignition, and you immediately turn on the radio. You scan the channels and then tune in to the one you're curious about. "Attention all units. The suspect lost his trail before reaching the checkpoint at the state line. Search operations have been terminated." You close your eyes and take a deep breath. Raymond succeeded. He's now in the darkness of the highway, in a place where this system can't reach him. As you start the car and pull out, your badge sits there, right next to the gearbox. You look at your face in the rearview mirror. You're no longer that organization's golden boy. You're the man who bent Justice's arm to fulfill a brotherly debt and left him to his fate in that dark parking lot. Raymond is gone, and you'll spend the rest of your life as the silent architect of that escape. Some debts, once paid, leave no honor left to spare. Today you didn't just save a brother, you left that honest detective in that interrogation room forever. The pain will never fade, because that scar is now etched into your conscience. This story may end here for you, but in real life, the decisions you have to make aren't that clear-cut. Could you have burned your 15-year career and everything you believed in to ashes in a single night to save your own flesh and blood? Or would the weight of your badge have felt more important than the bond of brotherhood? Don't forget to share your choice in the comments. If you enjoy this kind of dark detective story and POV content, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on new episodes right away.